So 0 is less than the absolute value of x minus 9, which is less than 1/4. Okay? So the absolute value of x minus 9 is between 0 and 1/4. Just like any other, like between this statement, if this was just 0 is less than x minus 9 is less than 1/4, if there were no absolute value, you could add 9 to all three parts and be done, right? Okay? But because it's absolute value, you can't just start adding 9, because we need to address the inside components before we can do anything, because we got to get rid of these absolute value bars. So we can't just treat this thing as three parts, and whatever we do to one part, we do all three parts. What we have to do here is realize that this is one inequality. So we're going to write that. 0 is less than the absolute value of x minus 9. And we have to realize then that this is another inequality. So we get the absolute value of x minus 9 is less than 1/4. Okay? And because of the type of statement it came in, remember, when we read this, absolute value of x minus 9 is greater than 0 and less than 1/4. So this is an and statement. Is that okay with everybody? And I'm actually going to highlight that, because that is the statement that dictates our final answer. Okay? As we start going through some information here, we're going to come up with multiple intervals. Those multiple intervals, when we're done, we have to link them back together with the and statement and see what that means to us. Okay? So, dealing with both of these individually now, we can look at this one. I'm going to rewrite this one. I'm going to write it as absolute value of x minus 9 is greater than 0. I like to see my absolute value first, because now, remember our rule that said if absolute value of ax plus b is greater than 0, then you get ax plus b, or actually, let's say 0, let's just say c here. Ax plus b is greater than c, or ax plus b is less than negative c, right? That's the rule that we have for greater than absolute values. So, how does this work? Well, this gives me x minus 9 is greater than 0. Now, here's where it gets kind of weird. We still have to have the or here, okay? Because what happens in these statements, the inequality symbol changes, right? So I still need or x minus 9 is less than, now I negate 0, but what's that still going to give me? 0, okay? So here it says x minus 9 is greater than 0, or x minus 9 has to be less than 0. Does that kind of make sense, everybody? If I solve both those, x is greater than 9, or x is less than 9. X is greater than 9, or x is less than 9. What is the only number on a number line then that we have not discussed here, that we cannot be including on our number line? X is greater than 9. Yeah, that would be an open dot and then shade to the right at 9. And then less than 9 would be open dot 9 and shade to the left. So we're talking about all real numbers except 9, right? Is that okay with everybody? Okay. So that is the or statement for that blue absolute value. So now we want to do the red one. Now the red one is a less than. So if you remember that rule was if the absolute value of ax plus b is less than c, then you can rewrite it as negative c is less than ax plus b is less than positive c. So now we can take this less than absolute value question and convert it into this and statement. So we write this as negative 1/4 is less than x minus, I'm just going to go ahead and write this as 36/4. Is that still 9? Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, just kind of foreshadowing, looking ahead here. And then 1/4. Now what can I do to all three parts? Can I isolate my x, right? Can I add 36 fourths to everything? Okay, so it's going to give me 35 fourths is less than x is less than 37 fourths. Alright, so what does that look like? Well, we'll find 35 fourths, a little bit smaller than 9. There's 35 fourths. We'll find 37 fourths, a little bit bigger than 9. Now x is between those, right? X is between those. We've got an open dot here and an open dot there. Is this all right? Okay. So those were the individual components. Okay, so this blue graph is just information from that. The red graph is just information from that. Remember what we said at the beginning, the overall inequality is a between statement, right? It's an intersection statement. That's why I highlighted that and to remind myself when we're done what we've got to do. We got to come back. And I'm going to put these graphs on the same number line, okay? So I've got 9 here. I've got 34 right? 35. 35 fourths, and we'll have 37 fourths, right? Okay? So I'm going to draw that blue graph there. The blue graph would be all that stuff. Okay. And then I'm going to draw the red graph. Well, the red graph would be that idea, right? Does that make sense? Now, what's the word and mean? What does this and right here mean to us? Intersection, where they overlap. Where do they start? What number do they start overlapping at? 35 fourths. Okay. Where is the next number that we've got to deal with in this overlap? 9. Okay. I have to indicate that 9 is actually a value that does not get included, right? They do not overlap at 9. Okay. So they start at 35 fourths. They don't overlap 35 fourths, but they overlap to the number just to the right of 35 fourths. You got a parenthesis there. We got a parenthesis around 9. I'm going to jump over 9 to the right-hand side of it. The first number to the right-hand side of 9. And then what's the last number in which they overlap? The last number that I'll use to show where they overlap. 37 fourths. I'm going to include that. Okay. So that's how you would do a question like that. There's a lot. I understand there's a lot of work there. Okay. But that because it's the overall question is an and statement, right? So you got to break that down to its components. Understand that those components are the blue absolute value, the red absolute value. They're kind of like individual questions on their own, right? Solve those individual absolute value questions, and then when you're done, realize, well, they should have been stuck together with the word and, so they're asking for the intersection of that stuff. What we're looking for. Is that all right? Okay, so you see that in your homework. I think there's a couple of those. Address those in that fashion. You should be okay.